We're here with Dr. Bernie Feldman, who's one of the FILA doctors here working the World Wrestling Championships. Bernie, could you tell us a little bit about the kind of things that you're going to be doing this week at a World Championship, helping FILA with the medical activities?
Well, it started out yesterday. We had the annual meeting of the FILA Medical and Anti-Doping Commission. Rich Bender appointed me as the U.S. Representative on that FILA Medical Committee in 2000, I believe. And we've had an annual meeting every year, which I've attended. So we had that meeting yesterday morning from 9 to noon. And then we had a medical symposium where there were several topics presented by members of the committee. I made a presentation myself, and that ended about 4 o'clock. And then today there's an international wrestling research organization that's run by David Kirby. He's the leader of the, they have a journal, and so they had a symposium this afternoon that I attended from 1 till about 3:30. And I'm now here at the beautiful new arena here in Istanbul, where we're going to do the medical checks for the first 3 weight classes in Greco-Roman wrestling. The first competition will start tomorrow at 1:30, so we'll do the medical checks from 5:30 to 6:30 here today, and then the weigh-ins are 6:30 to 7.
And then tomorrow they'll start competing, and obviously if there's injury situations, you're one of the doctors that go out and help the athletes.
Absolutely.
Tell us how that works. I mean, it's just...
Well, there are Turkish doctors from the local organizing committee, but it's often, very hard to predict how much wrestling experience they've had and what their specialty really is. In other words, they can assign a doctor who's a gynecologist or a pediatrician who doesn't really, understand the type of injuries that occur in wrestling. By and large, we try to let the local doctors provide the initial assessment, and then we watch over it, and if it looks like they're not sure what to do, we go out there, one of the FILA doctors. We also are responsible, if an athlete gets hurt, the ultimate decision on whether the athlete is able to continue wrestling or whether the match needs to be stopped because of the injury. That decision ultimately rests with the FILA physician. So that would be something that would fall in my purview as well.
Now, you got some pretty good news today about the Olympic Games. Tell us a little bit about the assignments.
Well, one of the agenda items at our meeting yesterday morning was Mr. Michel Dusan, the Secretary General for FILA, announced the doctor assignments for the FILA-sponsored wrestling events for the 2012 calendar year. And I was very lucky and very blessed to receive 2 very special assignments. The first assignment will be the Senior Pan American Wrestling Championships, which will take place in Colorado Springs at the end of February of 2012. And this year it's going to be a very, very important event because it's one of the qualifiers for the Olympic Games, so that if any of our athletes do not qualify their weight class to compete in the Olympics, one of the important qualifiers will be the Pan American Games. So it takes on some additional significance, the Pan Am Senior Championships this year. And then the other assignment that I got, which I'm still pretty pumped up and exhilarated about, is that I got the assignment to be one of 2 FILA doctors for the 2012 Olympic Games in London. And that's really, for me, that's the dream that you work for. I think it's the equivalent of maybe not even just making an Olympic team as an athlete, but maybe even winning a medal, because this is the 2nd consecutive Olympics where I've been assigned by FILA to be one of the FILA doctors. I was overwhelmed when I got the assignment to be the FILA doctor at the Olympics in Beijing in 2008, and now to get it a second time 4 years later is just really a dream come true. And You know, obviously I've spent a lot of years doing this. It's one of my great passions in life. And a lot of people work very hard and are never fortunate enough to get the kind of opportunities that I've had. But to get this assignment is not only a great honor and not only a wonderful opportunity, but it sends a very nice message to me that somebody appreciates what I've been trying to do and contribute. And I must be doing something right to get this kind of assignment. So I'm absolutely thrilled about it. Couldn't be more delighted.
Let's talk a little bit about why you do this. I mean, it started with what, the Cadet Worlds back in Illinois so many years ago?
The Junior World Championships were my first event, and that was held in Oak Lawn, Illinois.
Oak Lawn, okay.
In 1983.
Wow.
And it took place at a high school that was about 2 miles from where I was working at the time. And the tournament director basically approached me because I was the department chairman and residency director. I had 18 residents in emergency medicine at that time, and there were 4 days of competition, 3 sessions a day, so we had 12 sessions to cover. They needed physician coverage at each one, and he came to me and said, could you help us? I know that you have some doctors that work in your department who can help us. And I said, well, I'm pretty busy, and I'll get out on the first session and see what, get the lay of the land,
Sure.
see how it works, what's expected. And then I can promise you at least one of my residents will be out at each session. So I went out to the first session, and I was so captured by the intensity of the competition and the excitement of it. And so that was my first taste of international wrestling. And I basically got hooked right there. For the next 2 years, I started getting more involved in local and national events. And then in 1986, I got my very first assignment internationally. I was the team physician for the Greco team for the World Championships, which were in Budapest, Hungary in 1986. And that was my first overseas assignment, and it's been quite a ride since then.
Yeah, and it'll keep going too.
I hope so.
Well, have a great tournament, Bernie. Congratulations about London, and hopefully you won't have too much work to do, that there won't be too many injuries that you're going to have to be part of.
I'd much rather watch the wrestling and socialize. One of the special things about wrestling is that it's a brotherhood. It's a family, if you will. It sounds hokey to people who haven't experienced it, but I've been doing this for so many years that every place I go each year, people come up and greet me and hug me, and sounds a little hokey, but it's very special. I'm very blessed, and I feel very fortunate and lucky to be a member of the wrestling family, and I savor every experience. I look at every opportunity and every trip as a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and that's essentially what it becomes every year. So I'm very, very fortunate. It's very thankful to be where I am.
Thank you, Dr. Feldman.
Okay.